Chapter 2. The Killing of Satrajit and Satadhanva. After Akrura visited Hastinapur and reported the condition of the Pandavas to Krishna, there were further developments. The Pandavas were transferred to a house which was made of shellac and was later on set ablaze, and everyone understood that the Pandavas, along with their mother, Kunti, had been killed. This information was also sent to Lord Krishna and Balaram. After consulting together, they decided to go to Hastinapur to show sympathy to their relatives. Krishna and Balaram certainly knew that the Pandavas could not have been killed in the devastating fire, but in spite of this knowledge, they wanted to go to Hastinapur to take part in the bereavement. On arriving in Hastinapur, Krishna and Balaram first of all went to see Bhishmadev because he was the chief of the Kuru dynasty. They then saw Vidura, Gandhari, and Drona. Other members of the Kuru dynasty were not sorry because they wanted the Pandavas and their mother to be killed. But some family members, headed by Bhishma, were actually very sorry for the incident, and Krishna and Balaram expressed equal sorrow without disclosing the actual situation. When Krishna and Balaram were away from the city of Dwarka, there was a conspiracy to take away the Shamantaka jewel from Satrajit. The chief conspirator was Satadhanva. Along with others, Satadhanva wanted to marry Satyabhama, the beautiful daughter of Satrajit. Satrajit had promised that he would give his beautiful daughter in charity to various candidates, but later on the decision was changed, and Satyabhama was given to Krishna, along with the Shamantaka jewel. Satrajit had no desire to give the jewel away along with his daughter, and Krishna, knowing his mentality, accepted his daughter but returned the jewel. After getting back the jewel from Krishna, he was satisfied and kept it with him always. But in the absence of Krishna and Balaram, there was a conspiracy by many men, including even Akrura and Kritavarma, who were devotees of Lord Krishna, to take the jewel from Satrajit. Akrura and Kritavarma joined the conspiracy because they wanted the jewel for Krishna. They knew that Krishna wanted the jewel and that Satrajit had not delivered it properly. Others joined the conspiracy because they were disappointed in not having the hand of Satyabhama. Some of them incited Satadhanva to kill Satrajit and take away the jewel. The question is generally raised, why did a great devotee like Akrura join this conspiracy? And why did Kritavarma, although a devotee of the Lord, join the conspiracy also? The answer is given by great authorities like Jiva Goswami and others, that although Akrura was a great devotee, he was cursed by the inhabitants of Vrindavan because of his taking Krishna away from their midst. Because of his wounding their feelings, Akrura was forced to join the conspiracy declared by sinful men. Similarly, Kritavarma was a devotee, but because of his intimate association with Kamsa, he was also contaminated by sinful reaction, and he also joined the conspiracy. Being inspired by all the members of the conspiracy, Satadhanva one night entered the house of Satrajit and killed him while he was sleeping. Satadhanva was a sinful man of abominable character, and although due to his sinful activities he was not to live for many days, he decided to kill Satrajit while Satrajit was sleeping at home. When he entered the house to kill Satrajit, all the women there began to cry very loudly, but in spite of their great protests, Satadhanva mercilessly butchered Satrajit without hesitation, exactly as a butcher kills an animal in the slaughterhouse. Since Krishna was absent from home, his wife Satyabhama was also present on the night Satrajit was murdered, and she began to cry, my dear father, how mercilessly you have been killed." The dead body of Satrajit was not immediately removed for cremation because Satyabhama wanted to go to Krishna in Hastinapur. Therefore, the body was preserved in a tank of oil so that Krishna could come back and see the dead body of Satrajit and take real action against Satadhanva. Satyabhama immediately started for Hastinapur to inform Krishna about the ghastly death of her father. When Krishna was informed by Satyabhama of the murder of his father-in-law, he began to lament like an ordinary man. His great sorrow is, again, a strange thing. Lord Krishna has nothing to do with action and reaction, but because he was playing the part of a human being, he expressed his full sympathy for the bereavement of Satyabhama, and his eyes filled with tears upon hearing about the death of his father-in-law. He thus began to lament, "Oh, what unhappy incidents have taken place." In this way, both Krishna and Balaram, along with Satyabhama, the wife of Krishna, immediately returned to Dwarka and began to make plans to kill Satadhanva and take away the jewel. Although he was a great outlaw in the city, Satadhanva was still very much afraid of Krishna's power, and thus he became most afraid on Krishna's arrival. Understanding Krishna's plan to kill him, he immediately went to take shelter of Kritavarma. But on being approached by him, Kritavarma said, "I shall never be able to offend Lord Krishna and Balaram because they are not ordinary persons. They are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who can be saved from death if he has offended Balaram and Krishna? No one can be saved from their wrath." Kritavarma further said that Kamsa, although powerful and assisted by many demons, could not be saved from the wrath of Krishna, and what to speak of Jarasandha, who had been defeated by Krishna 18 times, and each time had to return from the fighting in disappointment. When Satadhanva was refused help by Kritavarma, he went to Akrura and implored him to help. Akrura also replied, "Both Balaram and Krishna are themselves the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and anyone who knows their unlimited strength would never dare to offend them or fight with them." He further informed Satadhanva, "Krishna and Balaram are so powerful that simply by willing, they are creating the whole cosmic manifestation, maintaining it and dissolving it. Unfortunately, persons who are bewildered by the illusory energy cannot understand the strength of Krishna, although the whole cosmic manifestation is fully under his control." He cited as an example that Krishna, even at the age of 7 years, had lifted Govardhan Hill and had continued to hold up the mountain for 7 days, exactly as a child carries a small umbrella. Akrura plainly informed Satadhanva that he would always offer his most respectful obeisances to Krishna, the supersoul of everything that is created and the original cause of all causes. When Akrura also refused to give him shelter, Satadhanva decided to deliver to the hands of Akrura the Shamantaka jewel. Then, riding on a horse which could run at great speed and up to 400 miles at a stretch, he fled the city. When Krishna and Balaram were informed of the flight of Satadhanva, they mounted their chariot, its flag marked by the picture of Garuda, and followed immediately. Krishna was particularly angry with Satadhanva and wanted to kill him because he had killed Satrajit, a superior personality. Satrajit happened to be the father-in-law of Krishna, and it is the injunction of the Shastras that anyone who has rebelled against a superior person, or guru druha, must be punished in proportion to the volume of offense. Because Satadhanva had killed his father-in-law, Krishna was determined to kill him by any means. Satadhanva's horse became exhausted and died near a garden house in Mithila. Unable to take help of the horse, Satadhanva began to run with great speed. In order to be fair to Satadhanva, Krishna and Balaram also left their chariot and began to follow Satadhanva on foot. While both Satadhanva and Krishna were running on foot, Krishna took his disc and cut off the head of Satadhanva. After Satadhanva was killed, Krishna searched through his clothing for the Shamataka jewel, but he could not find it. He then returned to Balaram and said, "We have killed this person uselessly because the jewel is not to be found on his body." Sri Balaram suggested, "The jewel might have been kept in custody of another man in Dwarka, so you'd better return and search it out." Sri Balaram expressed his desire to remain in Mithila city for some days because he enjoyed an intimate friendship with the king. Therefore, Krishna returned to Dwarka, and Balaram entered the city of Mithila. When the king of Mithila saw the arrival of Sri Balaram in his city, he became most pleased and received the Lord with great honor and hospitality. He presented many valuable presents to Balaramji in order to seek his pleasure. At this time, Sri Balaram lived in the city for several years as the honored guest of the king of Mithila, Janak Maharaj. During this time, Duryodhan, the eldest son of Dhritarashtra, took the opportunity of coming to Balaram and learning from him the art of fighting with a club. After killing Satadhanva, Krishna returned to Dwarka, and in order to please his wife, Satyabhama, he informed her of the death of Satadhanva, the killer of her father. But he also informed her that the jewel had not been found in his possession. Then, according to religious principles, Krishna, along with Satyabhama, performed all kinds of ceremonies in honor of the death of his father-in-law. In that ceremony, all the friends and relatives of the family joined together. Akrura and Kritavarma, who were prominent members in the conspiracy to kill Satrajit, had incited Satadhanva to kill him. But when they heard of the death of Satadhanva at Krishna's hand, and when they heard also that Krishna had returned to Dwarka, they both immediately left Dwarka. The citizens of Dwarka felt themselves threatened with pestilence and natural disturbances due to the absence of Akrura from the city. This was a kind of superstition because, while Lord Krishna was present, there could not be any pestilence, famine, or natural disturbances. But in the absence of Akrura, there were some disturbances in Dwarka. Once in the province of Kashi, within the barricade of Varanasi, there was severe drought and practically no rainfall. At that time, the king of Kashi arranged the marriage of his daughter, known as Gandhini, with Svapalka, the father of Akrura. This was done by the king of Kashi on the advice of an astrologer, and actually it so happened that after the marriage of the king's daughter with Svapalka, there was sufficient rainfall in the province. Due to this supernatural power of Svapalka, his son, Akrura, was also considered equally powerful, and people were under the impression that wherever Akrura or his father remained, there would be no natural disturbance, famine, or drought. That kingdom is considered to be happy where there is no famine, pestilence, or excessive heat and cold, and where people are happy mentally, spiritually, and bodily. As soon as there is some disturbance, people consider the cause to be due to the absence of an auspicious personality in the city. Thus, there was a rumor that because of the absence of Akrura, inauspicious things were happening. After the departure of Akrura, some of the elderly members of the town began to perceive that there were also inauspicious signs due to the absence of the Shamantaka jewel. When Lord Sri Krishna heard these rumors spread by the people, he decided to summon Akrura from the kingdom of Kashi. Akrura was Krishna's uncle. Therefore, when he came back to Dwarka, Lord Krishna first of all welcomed him as befitting a superior person. Krishna is the supersoul in everyone's heart. He knows everything going on in everyone's heart. He knew everything that had happened in connection with Akrura's conspiracy with Satadhanva. Therefore, he smilingly began to address Akrura. Addressing him as the chief among magnificent men, Krishna said, "My dear uncle, it is already known to me that the Shamantaka jewel was left by Satadhanva with you. Presently, there is no direct claimant of the Shamantaka jewel, for King Satrajit has no male issue. His daughter Satyabhama is not very anxious for this jewel, yet her expected son, as grandson of Satrajit, would, after performing the regulative principles of inheritance, be the legal claimant of the jewel. Lord Krishna indicated by this statement that Satyabhama was already pregnant, and that her son would be the real claimant for the jewel and would certainly take the jewel from him. Krishna continued, "This jewel is so powerful that no ordinary man is able to keep it. I know that you are very pious in activities, so there is no objection to the jewel being kept with you. There is one difficulty, and that is that my elder brother, Sri Balaram, does not believe my version that the jewel is with you. I therefore request you, O large-hearted one, to show me the jewel before my other relatives so that they may be pacified. You cannot deny that the jewel is with you because from various kinds of rumors we can understand that you have enhanced your opulence and are performing sacrifices on an altar made of solid gold. The properties of the jewel were known. Wherever the jewel remained, it would produce, for the keeper, almost 9 mounds of pure gold daily. Akrura was getting gold in that proportion and was distributing it very profusely at sacrificial performances. Lord Krishna cited Akrura's lavishly spending in gold as positive evidence of his possessing the Shamantaka jewel. When Lord Krishna, in friendly terms and in sweet language, impressed Akrura about the real fact, and Akrura understood that nothing could be concealed from the knowledge of Sri Krishna, he brought the valuable jewel, shining like the sun and covered by cloth, and presented it before Krishna. Lord Krishna took the Shamantaka jewel in his hand and showed it to all his relatives and friends present there, and then again returned the jewel to Akrura in their presence, so that they would know that the jewel was actually being kept by Akrura in Dwarka city. The story of the Shamantaka jewel is very significant. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that anyone who hears the story of the Shamantaka jewel, or describes it, or simply remembers it, will be free from all kinds of defamation and the reactions of all impious activities, and thus will attain the highest perfectional condition of peace. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 2nd volume, 2nd chapter of Krishna, the killing of Satrajit and Satadhanva.